the Netherlands can do it. I don't see why we can't do it here in Jamaica. We need to be the Usain Bolts of
Yeah,
agriculture.
man. No, I'm going to respectfully ask that the questions be quick because we're out of time. So just give me your first name and your question. We'll get to you later. If you don't get a chance to answer the question, you still have my phone number. I will be accountable to get you a responsible answer. Ras Asta.
As you mentioned, my name is Ras Asta. I'm from Bob Arts Television. I operate an attraction. We find out now as a reggae purist, it's like young people know Vibes Cartel, but they don't know Third World. And I have developed a Reggae Walk of Fame, where we offer a gastronomy experience when the guests come off the ships and come to the Reggae Walk of Fame. The Reggae Walk of Fame is just down the road at Spring Farm, and it's across from the Half Moon Hotel. Now, we find that within the hotels, the entertainment section is all about Cuba and Dominican Republic. It's not Jamaica, so we don't offer our indigenous Rastafari music to the guests. And I love the powers that be, Ministry of Culture and the people in general, to let us keep the ambassadors in our mind and promote them more now. Respect.
Thank you very much, sir. Well said. I'll leave it as you have put it. We should encourage that. Yes, sir.
Apparently, in one of their culinary leads is Jamaican. And she said, guys, why are we trying to recreate the wheel? Just buy Walker's wood.
All right.
And God bless her if I can find her, right? And we started, we gave them samples, and there was some push. You have to learn to be flexible. Our traditional packaging for 1 gallons is in a tub format, and they straight up said, listen, we don't like it. It's hard to get in, it's hard to close. I tried to tell them, hey, it's part of food safety and all of that, and they said, listen, if you want to work with us, we need something a little bit more friendly to our operations. So we're able to offer them a different packaging format, which was unique to what we offer them, more of a bottled formatted. And they started just in South Florida with about 200 locations, and they were doing I think a jerk chicken, leg and thigh. And that started to pick up. They offered now an 8-piece box of jerk chicken. And in December of last year, I actually flew to Orlando, went up to Lakeland to Publix head office and met with their deli buyer. And, he wanted to be sure that, hey, I'm giving you guys this opportunity. They wanted to go all Publix, which is over 1,400 locations,
Wow.
with a jerk wing offer. And of course, we had to ensure them that, listen, we have the ability and capacity to supply you, our quality standards and all of those factors that they want to look at for any kind of global opportunity. And, in August of this year, they launched a 20-piece jerk wing box, which is available across all their locations. And the response has just been phenomenal, overwhelming. So not to say, it's resulted in now multiple containers a month of just this specific item for Publix, a new business for our brand. And we really want to just big up our Jamaican diaspora, who are obviously strong leaders and supporters of all things Jamaican. And of course, once we start setting the trend, everybody migrates to the trend. So yeah, it's really been wonderful. And guys, keep pushing. It's limited time offer until November, but early announcements from Publix are they absolutely love it, and it should become a permanent menu item. So Oliver, you should be able to keep bringing home your jerk wings.
And I know you were very deliberate when you selected South Florida to start with, right? Excellent. No, this is big news, and I think we all can benefit from it. And when we go into Publix, ensure we ask for the product. Let people know that we're asking for this product specifically. And we give the feedback to the management. Let them know that we appreciate the product. Public has always been supportive to us in the community, but I think this is now taking it to another level. And by the way, when are you going public, my brother?
Well, we do have plans down the road that we do want Jamaica involved in our business and to feel a part of our business. But I just wanted to add to that a big part of why we're here today is that we need our Jamaican farmers. We are currently doing in excess of 6.5 million pounds annually of fresh Jamaican produce, from scallions, now grown locally, yellow onions, of course, Scotch bonnets in red, yellow, and green, thyme, pimento. So farmers, we love you, we appreciate you, and that's why we're here. So keep growing, reach out to us with what's happening. We need more and more produce every year, and our plan is to continue growing. Our 5-year plan, which is 2 years underway, was to triple our business, and we're halfway there in just 2 years.
A quick follow-up question to that, because it's so important. What percentage increase do you think will emanate from this relationship with Publix?
So the quick figures from January to August is a 3% increase in just volume for our business with just that one opportunity.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much. No, you have to, when I say thank you, clap. So, I'm going to give you guys a little cue, right? Even if I'm doing it. Anytime I do this, you're going to clap, right? All right, good. Ladies and gentlemen, mechanization is so important. Equipment is important in the business. And we couldn't have a forum like this without flying down one of the most influential in the business. So we said, listen, we know you're in the UK, but you have to fly down for this. And we're speaking about Mr. Eric Montero, General Manager of JCB United Kingdom. He flew all the way down here to be here for this particular presentation. So let's give a round of applause.
Thank you.
So, Sir Eric, if I may, our Jamaican farmers say, you know, we have a number of them that are not quite up to 50 acres, maybe under 50 acres. You know, which two machines would you say would deliver the fastest return on investment for, like, say, peppers and mixed crops?
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Appreciate it. So there's two ways to work this. One is the harvesting machines for it, but also the land preparation.
Right.
So cleanup, drainage, trenches, etc. So as you may know, JCB has more than 300 products. So we go from 1 ton excavator for small applications to up to 37 tons. So like the bauxite operations. So we want to be a solution for different sizes of operation. So as you may know, JCB is 80 years old, and Jamaica was the first country out of the UK to become a dealer. So right now our local partner is Stewart's Industrial, part of Industrial's Automotive Group. And also, we're here partnering with the British High Commissioner, who has a booth. We do have a JCB machine in this exhibit, so please stop by when you can. You know, big yellow toys always make happy and smile people, so please join us to see the machine. I want to mention two very quick things. One is, as you see that the employment becomes more available, labor stresses, right? And maybe agriculture is one of the ones that suffers first, because you have even, you know, different areas of the business that are growing. In that sense, that's where we want to cooperate, bring technology that would help become faster, better, and more productive. So what we're proposing is a couple of options for the region. One, every single JCB machine that is brought to Jamaica comes with the engine that can be used with the local fuel. So no crazy electronics, no failures, etc. So one, we do have a parts depot in Miami, so whatever we don't have here, it's 2 hours away from us. And two, we make sure that you have technicians prepared. One other matter that I want to stress is that all JCB machines have live link. That's telematics that will help you follow your machine from your laptop, from your iPad, from your cell phone, and now from your watch. So you will know exactly where is your machine, what is doing, how much fuel is using. So even if the machine is on and it's not being operated, meaning if somebody is sleeping in the cab, air conditioning, no work. So all these protections are, and all this information is available so the farmers can be even more productive. They have more information. They can take advantage of their investment to make, Jamaica even bigger and better in production.
Excellent. And as a people, we've already started, but the reality is that we are now in a technological age where AI is dominating. And by the way, I'm going to do a couple of shameless plugs on October 2nd. If you have not yet liked our pages for the Consulate General, please do so. Mayor Oliver, Instagram. We'll have an AI forum that will be available globally, free of cost, hands-on. Shameless plug. But technology is so important, especially as we seek to get more profit, because we're all here to have profitable ventures. And so I thank you for that information, and my follow-up question will delve a little bit more in some ROIs on the next question that I'll have for you. But thank you very much, Mr. Montero.
Thank you.
I don't know how many of you saw that I was limping a little earlier yesterday, and a good friend of mine, he's a Campionite. We spoke about my limp, and he mentioned to me that I don't need to be using any synthetic products. He has come up with an item using Scotch bonnet that can relieve any pain that I have, and he has promised to send some to me. My good friend from Campion days, he was actually top footballer at Campion. I trained him very well. Mr. Stephen Jones, Managing Director of ESL. Let's give him a round of applause.
I don't know about the top footballer part, but I agree with the friend part.
ESL has filed several patents, Stephen, that take locally grown Scotch bonnet peppers, turning them into new wellness products. Tell us about this.
So, Environmental Solutions has been around for 34 years, focused on making our air, food, everything else as clean as possible. And I joined my mother maybe 3 years ago, because I can't allow her legacy to die with her. But more importantly, she has built a brand that we need to build upon, generationally speaking. So we looked at various expansion opportunities that was tightly integrated with the environment, and we began with drones, where we were able to identify and help farmers understand the health of the plants, and then we would leverage the drone technologies to variably spray according to what the science says. And after doing that for a while, we realized that there were a lot of opportunities and gaps in the natural farming, as we call it, space. And my mother is a survivor of cancer, and I am convinced that it's the food that contributed to it, so it's very passionate there to me. We have a number of scientists in our lab, so we work together to try to create a more natural or fully, I don't really like the term organic, but if it's not grown here, or if we can't get it from the soil or the rocks here, then it can't go into the farm, and let's see what happens. We're able to successfully grow a couple crops. We're now focusing on peppers. But we saw where, of course, food is important, but one of the challenges that the farmers have is that there's a ceiling when it comes to food with respect to per pound that they can be paid, including us, because we deliver today between 1.2 and 1.5 million pounds of pepper to Grace. Hopefully soon workers would as well.
Let's cut the deal right now, man. Cut the deal right now. I'm the middleman. Cut right.
But in experimenting with the science behind Scotch bonnet, we realized that cayenne pepper was a natural alternative to the synthetic means of dealing with pain relief, dietary supplements, etc. But the science is also showing us that the top end of all the various noids in pepper, for cayenne pepper, is not even the bottom end, the low range for Scotch bonnet. So we explored further, and we have since filed 7 patents to where we can now leverage Scotch bonnet to create a new market for our farmers to hopefully enhance Scotch bonnet peppers, which is the health and wellness space. And it's not meant to be, our plan is not to disrupt food, because I think if we grow Scotch bonnet over the whole of Jamaica, we won't have enough, right? But it's to enable, like any good business, you have to have multiple streams of income. So it's the same for the farmers. And unfortunately, our farmers today, we may drive the Lexus and the Benz. Them can't even afford to buy a donkey, many of them. And they are the ones that are supplying us with the food that we need to eat. So giving them the ability to diversify their revenue stream, thereby increasing it and providing a lot of work, employment for people in the communities is very important to us. And enabling new areas for the young people to begin to study so that we can differentiate. We're a small island, but as you know, we punch above our belt. We just need to ensure that we educate the children and give the people an opportunity. And I think that this is one of the ways that we can contribute.
Well said. Well said. One of the things I'm going to encourage us as an audience is many times we go to forums and different investor briefings, and we leave and say, oh, what a good session, eh? It was so good. And we go about our business. I want to challenge us to be prepared to take action from these 2 days. Take action to either get involved in agriculture or make a step in that direction. If I'm speaking to you today and this is touching your heart, could you just raise your hand? Do we have a photographer, please take a picture of these folks. Gonna hold them to it. We want action, not a bag of mouth. There's a lady who came in a few minutes ago, and we doing our rehearsal sessions. She was meant to do a more dramatic entrance, but she kind of never get that part too right. I wanted her to come in and do a little dance at the start, but my good friend Karima is the CEO of one of the most famous brands, another famous brand, Home Choice Foods. Home Choice Foods. And, at the consulate, a lot of companies come to us, do courtesy visits, and, when they want to get into the market, and we give them the type of whatever support we can from the office. And in 2019, this lady came by, she brought some of her products, and she said, boy, at the time, nothing go on. And she gave me some pepper shrimp, which I was so happy to have. I asked her for a couple extra ones. And we had a good meeting. A week after, there was an investor who came up to meet on a different matter. He said, boy, he's looking for some companies to invest in. And we were able to connect them together. And her business has upscaled since, in a big way. I was hoping for her to call me and tell me right away, boy, CG, thank you so much. She did. But Her product is one of the finest on the market. Let's give it up for Karima Monsing. Karima, what has resulted in the success of your business from the inception, your days in Portmore, to where you are today? Give us the top 3 ingredients.
Okay, I just wanted to apologize for being late first. And I used to inviting to run to meet with the ministers because we wanted to present something to him. So sorry for being late. And yes, Oliver was very integral in helping Home Choice to the next level. We had, and I'll mention his name. His name is Mark Crosker. He offers financial advice. So he saw our products in Florida, and he just said, I like that product, but you know, my mother always said me, if you're doing something good, do it good, right? So if it just make sure your brand look good. When Mark come at my place, it was a look at wire fence, a look at Mall Road. This was 2019. And we were like doing, I think, like $40 million to $70 million for the year. That was, yeah. So we decided, Mark looked at our products and said, this is a world-class brand. So anyway, we brought him in as an advisor. I couldn't pay him, and I'm giving you this advice. We couldn't pay him, so we said, all right, we'll give you some share, and you just stay with us. So he stayed with us, and we landed. Everybody came to us, Barita, and then VM came to us and bought 20% shares in the company. What we sold in May of this year is what we sold for the entire year in 2017.
Wow.
So just to let you know, just to say to everyone that's out there, the MSMEs, if you can't do it, you really can't do it alone. Bring somebody in and help you, because if they can do it, bring them in to help you. Don't just look at your farm and say, boy, I may not have no money. You know, you can get help. Someone's always willing to help you. So yes, so that's the story of Home Choice. But I'm actually here to speak on behalf of our cluster. Are you ready? Yeah. So, was the presentation done?
No, we're going to hold that.
No?
We're going to hold that.
You're going to hold that? So
Yeah.
let me just quickly speak about the cluster. So, so a group of us came together and we visited the Amity Hall and the bench agro-processing. What's the name of it? So anyway, we visited the agricultural lands near Amity Hall in that ASC center. So Vivian took us on a tour, and I was able to bring 14 of the MSME members because I wanted them to feel what I was feeling. And then we have been granted 83 acres of land, and for the first time, the AIC has endorsed 14 of our members to get 5 acres of land for agro-processing.
Excellent.
They need a round of applause for that. So basically, this is what some of our MSMEs has done. We bring like sweet potato to make fudge and popsicles. We have a member here who just migrated from California to set up business here. She's going to be doing non-dairy cheese and non-dairy products. And we have Farm Linker who is working with us to link us with the farmers. And we have Jamaica ID Spices who make spices from the ground. So the reason why we formed this cluster is so we'll be able to supply ourselves with the raw material, because more than over, sometimes we let the farmers get the most profit from us. Sometimes we don't benefit, so we'll be able to control our raw materials. It's Kelly.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Karima. Karima is also the vice president of the JMEA, and I know she will, at the end, we will allow you to do a little more information on that. But we want to have an opportunity for individuals to ask questions, so I'm going to limit the time here that we go through this section and open up shortly from questions from the audience. But each of you, I'm going to ask you to give 2 lines on the opportunity you see from where you sit between Jamaica and your market. So I'm going to start with Commissioner Davis. She sits in a very powerful position, one of the highest ranking Jamaican-born officials in the United States, and lots of power. And from your perspective, in a few lines, what is the opportunities you see that lie between Jamaica and where you sit as Broward County Commissioner?
Thank you, Council General Mayor. So many of you would probably know Miami, and others of you know Broward County. It's Miami-Dade County is the largest county in Florida, but Broward County, where I sit, is the second largest county in the state of Florida. It's also the 17th largest county out of over 3,000 counties in the United States. So it's huge. Broward County has a large Caribbean diaspora, and in particular, as Council General Mayor mentioned, a Jamaican diaspora, which helps when it comes to goods and products from Jamaica. They're the ones mainly buying the goods. So in Broward County, we facilitate a lot of trade by having our two ports. I mentioned the Hollywood International Fort Lauderdale Airport, which currently has about 35 flights a week into Jamaica, with passengers as well as cargo, with airlines like Southwest. I flew in on JetBlue, but you have Caribbean Airways and Spirit Airlines, which we hope will continue out of Fort Lauderdale. And of course, we have our port, Port Everglades, which is actually the 15th largest container port in the United States. Port Everglades also has a foreign trade zone, and that's important because a lot of times you can bring in products. We mentioned peppers, but you can bring in, say, the peppers into that area at the port, have it bottled, labeled, and shipped out. If it's going out of the country, you pay no duty at all. If it's been sent around the country, you only pay duty on the finished product. So this is an opportunity, especially for small businesses, to utilize that port facility. There is storage facilities there where you can store your product before you send it to market and use our cold storage facilities. And so there's a lot more information you can find on foreign trade zones, and we're going to have a section specifically on that at our FITSE Expo coming up in October. And of course, as I mentioned, the diaspora, large diaspora population who really helps to purchase the products that is sent to Broward County. And Broward County itself is able to, again, it is the hub, the global hub of the United States and the Americas, really, South America, North America, where you can ship your products. So more information, I'm sure, will be forthcoming, and we encourage people to learn more from Broward.org, which is our website. And for the FITSE Expo, it's fitseexpo.com. And you're going to have over 70 countries at our expo from all over the world where you can meet the businesses from Broward County who are looking to do business with the agricultural sector. They'll be present, whether it's for bottling or processing collaborations with those companies in Broward County. That's all available to you. So I'd encourage you. It is free to attend, but if you're going to be an exhibitor, there is a nominal fee as well. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And I want to encourage everybody to, those of you who have never been to FITSE, it's a very large expo, and it's a great opportunity to showcase your products. There was a lady yesterday who told me that she's coming. She wants to be there. She's going to do a courtesy visit first at the consulate, and she wants to set up her booth at FITSE. I'm encouraging you as well to be a part of the expo. So as we move down the line, the same question, just in a couple lines, the opportunity you see between Jamaica and your market as Walker's Wood. And specifically for you, expectation, somebody listening and would like to supply Walker's Wood, what are some of the expectations you have?
Sure. I mean, I would say that one of the best secrets that we've had as to our success is that we have picked specific markets and stayed with those markets and built within that. And we've never decided to look outside until we knew that our partner was fully satisfied. A lot of us can get inured at the potentials for new market opportunities, but unless you're geared up and ready to truly step in that without it being at the expense of an existing market, it's better to grow and hold where you are. And that's truly been a strong key point for Walker's Wood. And that's why we have the relationships in the US with Walmart and Publix, because these buyers and these stores, they're looking at numbers, right? And it's called fulfillment rate. And the score is very high. And if you fall below that, telling them that there was a hurricane or you've had these issues, you might get a small tear. That's it. They're moving on. So stay focused.
You can't make any mistakes with Publix. You have to deliver.
No, hey, we love them. And trust me, again, we big them up for choosing the authentic route and going that way. And for any farmers that are there that want to supply Walker's Wood, we encourage. You know, as I said, we have an 80,000 square foot facility in Walker's Wood, St. Anne, that sits open waiting on supplies from Jamaican farmers for our core produce.
Thank you very much. All right, so the last three presenters, I really want to open up for some more questions. So in as succinctly as you can, the opportunity that exists now for those listening here and what you're presenting in terms of your machinery, etc. What is the opportunity on the table in just a few sentences?
Thank you so much. I will summarize it in two aspects. One of them is that as JCB became the third largest manufacturer in the world by number of machines built, we expanded the footprint. We now have manufacturing in China, India, Brazil, and the US. So in our mind, we had the issue that some people had the perception that it was an unattainable machine. Now we are competing with the same components, longer warranties. We're talking about the backhoe loader, 2 years, 4,000 hours, built in different locations, which improves the price at the level of the consumer. So that's one. The other one is that JCB, because of the design of the hydraulics, is 25% better and more efficient in fuel. So you will invest less and you will win the difference of the price of the machine compared to another quality in less than a year. So those are the two aspects that I want to mention that will be gains for Jamaica.
If somebody is here and they would like to get more information, you have a booth?
We have the booth here.
Okay.
And Stewart Industrial is the distributor. Bell Road 22 in Kingston.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you.
Stephen, quick as you can. I'm going to go to some questions, but same thing. What is the opportunity from ESL to the Jamaican market?
So I think we are just beginning to scratch the surface with the health and wellness. There are a lot of plants endemic to Jamaica that needs to be explored. And if what I will say, what I will offer, we have a ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. If you all do the right research and are able to present not just scientifically but business-wise what you're trying to do, we will provide the first series of testing at no charge to our Jamaican farmers.
Excellent. Excellent. Same question to you, Karimo.
I think that's a simple one for Home Choice. Just stay unique as Home Choice do. We create new products for the market, or sometimes in trend. COVID, we have turmeric and we have ginger, so we just stay in trend with the market. At Christmas come, we can get sorrel and a bottle of sorrel all year round. But as for my MSMEs, as Vice President of the JMA, I'd like to talk on behalf of them that they have unique products, innovative products that need to push. I mean, whoever hear about AccuFudge, and then with Mother Earth being here, she'll be with the first company to produce locally non-dairy milk and non-dairy cheese. So hopefully those will come to the market from Jamaica. So the opportunity is vast. We intend to plant aloe vera, to have our first aloe vera gel and aloe vera in the market from Jamaica. So the opportunity is just wide open, and we thank the AIC for believing in us and endorsing our cluster.
Thank you very much. Scientific Research Council, those of you here, let me just do a shameless plug for them. If you have a product or you'd like to develop a product, reach out to them as well. They have a booth in the exhibition hall. So at this time, we have 2 mics. Anyone who would like to ask a question, we will take a few questions from mic left and mic right. And we'll close off on this section. I'm going to ask you to go to the mics quickly and announce your name and just your company. Not a long thing, just name and company you're associated with, and then you can direct your question.
Okay, greetings. I'm Carrie Coots from Living Food and Juices, a certified herbal physician. So, of course, my question would be going to Mr. Stephen Jones. Maybe this is just gratitude to say, extending gratitude to know that yesterday I came up and I spoke about this, and today my prayer has been answered. So I'm not going to take up any more time. You're going to be my best friend. Give thanks for life.
Blessings, blessings.
You're most welcome.
Thank you so much for that comment.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raquel Lowe Jones. I'm a doctor by day, specifically a kidney physician, so it's very encouraging to hear of the medicinal purposes of our homegrown plants. Secondly, I'm a mother of a teenager who is very interested in agriculture, and I'm a bit perturbed that I don't see much young persons. And if the sustainability of agriculture needs to be perpetuated in Jamaica, we should be seeing a lot more of our young persons here. That's the second comment. And the last comment, I am also representing the Portland Beekeepers Association. So I want to thank Joseph for sponsoring our trip here today. And I haven't heard much about bees and the importance of bees in agriculture, which is the foundation of agriculture: plants, pollination, animals.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. And I know that bee farming, I didn't get to see it on the whole agenda, but you're right. I remember when I had cantaloupes, we were particular to get bees to ensure that it was properly pollinated, and that was a major step in the production, so you're correct. And thank you for coming from Portland and sharing with us. Any other questions before we close out? Mr. Tourism, by the way, I'm happy you're up. Ladies and gentlemen, I've not heard it mentioned by anyone yet, and I hope I'm not going to steal your thunder, but it's estimated that we could have over 10,000 new hotel rooms over the next number of years. I can't say 5 or 6 years, but that deserves a round of applause. You heard the minister speaking earlier. Lots of exciting things are taking place in the country. The country is definitely moving in the right direction. And my message to everybody is the time to invest is now. Every company you see here represented or in the audience or exhibiting started from an idea. Somebody sat down in an audience like this, had an idea, but had the courage to move forward with it. So if you have an idea, if you feel a little inching in your spirit, yield to the Spirit, brothers and sisters, and move forward in confidence. Can I get an amen? Amen. My brother, go forward.
Wow, I'm under pressure now. What an introduction. All right, great. So this is kind of mainly for Karima. We work a lot with a lot of artisans and start-up suppliers. Let's say in Jamaica, you have a lot of samples, but they don't get to where it's ample. Yeah. And I just wondered, in terms of getting now to export, getting to the global reach, especially with technology available to us today that we didn't have a couple of years ago, what would you say is like a step-by-step growth and scaling up process that you would recommend to us, a small startup operation here in Jamaica now that has a great product but needs to get to the stage of Walker's Wood?
First of all, you can't start big. You have to start small. So you have to creep. So when we started, we were going like piggybacking on a lot of larger companies. We started with the Jamaican Teas, National Baking Company. So there are a lot of players in the market, or especially within our association. I'm encouraging persons to join the Jamaican Manufacturers and Exporters Association, because you can join if you are a farmer, you can join if you are agro-processor. You cannot do this by yourself. Join any association that you can join, and you will have network linking. As I said, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's not that difficult. It just takes a lot of little steps to get to that point. I cannot even believe I'm actually speaking about that. I'm actually here because I've listened to persons in the last forum, Invest Forum, I think 3 years ago, and I was not there yet. So we're doing like two 40-foot containers into New York, mixed containers to one customer, and that is really, really credible for Home Choice at this point.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Before we take the final question, on the count of 3, I want you to say collaboration. Everybody say, because we can't do none of this by ourselves. We have to work together with partners. We have to collaborate. So on the count of 3, I want you to say collaboration. And nobody get too stush on me. I want everybody to say it. 1, 2, 3.
Collaboration.
That's what we need in the nation to have further penetration and generation for our nation and good vibration.
Oliver, just give me 1 sec, please. 1 sec. 2 seconds. Light was in my eyes and I didn't remember my dear friend, Irie. Irie, can you stand up for me, please? I think you should visit her booth. She used herbs to make her products. So she has vitamin drops and everything. So I'm encouraging everybody to visit her booth. Thank you.
Excellent. Me know you did promise her before. You make sure you do it, right? Good. Okay, the final question before we wrap up, and then we'll take a picture with all our panelists.
Good afternoon. I'm Gloria Malcolm Foster, and the question is for Commissioner Davis. You mentioned that there is an expo or a trade show that takes place in October. I didn't get the time in October and how long it lasts. Could you tell us what that is all about?
Certainly. It's called FITSI, which is the Florida International Trade and Cultural Expo, October 22nd and October 23rd. For more information, though, I would suggest you, if you can, go on FITSEExpo.com, FITCEXPO.com, or on Broward.org. But all the information is there, and it's an all-day conference on the 22nd and 23rd of October. And, you know, it's just a stone throw away. It didn't cost me much to get here. So I'm sure because traveling to Broward is not that expensive, everybody here should be trying to make that trip. Definitely. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And by the way, just to follow up, that expo was started by a Jamaican, Dale Holness, the former Broward Mayor, Dale Holness. He's not here, but let's give him a round of applause, right? All right, you are going to be brought up. All right. Last question.
Thank you very much. My name is Chantil, and I'm from South St. Elizabeth on the Pedro Plains. We do a lot of farming, but I am the chairman of the Jamaica Fishermen's Cooperative Union.
Jamaica what?
Fishermen Cooperative Union.
Okay.
And we sell fishing tackles, but our fishermen are having difficulties in getting their lobsters sell. The price is very low, and I know we catch. Probably the catch is a bit up, and because of that, you know, demand and supply, and that will cause the price to fall. But I was hearing about the export, the persons here who buy. I don't know if lobster could be lobster tail or whole lobsters could be a part of their thing. And the other thing is that with the Walker's Wood, we used to supply scallion and pepper to Walker's Wood. Myself and my son are Gary Ebanks, we used to bring a lot of scallion to walk out with and hot pepper. I used to plant the pepper, he do the scallion. So I hope we can renew that relationship. And one more thing, I am a part of the environmental committee of the Jamaica Fishermen's Co-op. A few days ago, we planted 21 trees between coconut and tulip and sea grape in Helsha. We plant in Montego Bay, we plant in Treasure Beach, and we plant at different beaches around the island. Our success rate is about 70%. We ask persons when we plant the tree to adapt the tree, take care of it until it can take care of itself. So as the environmental committee, we are doing this alone, and we want to see who want to join up with us, because we have a very big plan in planting trees along the Palisades. We have approached other government agencies, but the trees that they are offering is not able to withstand the sea frost. So we have to develop those trees with the sea grape, tulip, and almond is the one who will withstand that harsh condition much better. So thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Thank you for your support to the environment. And boy, I tell you, I was hoping to wrap up, but my good friend now come to the mic and put me under pressure. Mr. Astor Black.
Yes. Greetings.
All right.
Greetings in the name of the Most High.
Final question, Astor, and then we take it over.
I'd like to big up Dale Holness also from Broward County, first Lauderhill, because he formulated the sister city organization between Falmouth and Lauderhill. And you know, Lauderhill is now referred to as Jamaica Hill. So, you know what I would like to tell all the farmers here, we asked the Prime Minister to endorse the North Coast Highway from Montego Bay Airport to Ocho to be called the Reggae Highway. And I would love all of you to endorse that, because reggae is bigger than rock, not true? Yeah, they're building a Hard Rock hotel down the road, so we say we can build a reggae Walk of Fame hotel. So I would love everyone to big up the Reggae Highway. Seeing blessed love.
Big up. And in closing,
sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we call it the diaspora, but at the last diaspora conference, a gentleman who wearing his dreads come forward and say, we don't want a diaspora because we are the living spora. So we may have to change the name from diaspora. I'm going to invite my distinguished panel to just rise. Can we give them a big round of applause? I didn't get to do my shameless plug. New cargo airline, Connex in the house. Miami to Kingston, Natalie and Luke. That's my shameless plug. And let's take a picture now of the panelists. And please give your moderator a big round of applause. And a bigger round of applause for our distinguished panelists. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, Antas. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together again, please, for Consul General Oliver Mayer, who ably moderated that panel, and our panelists, please, all of them. Put your hands together for all of them, please, and their contribution. Very good, valuable information, right? Actionable, and we were able to understand everything, to connect with it, and we got some really good gems that we can put into practice right away. Thank you again to our panelists and our moderator. Well, we are moving forward. I know we are a little behind time, but we're gonna keep it going because we do have lunchtime, and I know you wanna taste a piece of Jamaica, right? Exactly. So we're going to be keeping it moving. At this time, we're going to invite to the stage our next panelists and our moderator. This one is on the Jamaica Special This one is on the business of local flavor, connecting Jamaican farms and agro-processors to the tourism sector. That's the name of it. We're inviting to the stage Mr. Christopher Denny, Vice President of Investments and Linkages at JAMPRO, to come forward. Mr. Denny has fans in the audience. He's just turning around and waving to the audience. No autographs, please, just here for a short time. And we're inviting to the stage our panelists. We have with us from the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, Ms. Kelly Dawn Hamilton, CEO. And she actually has a very special presentation on the Special Economic Zones in Action, Strategic Investment. Also inviting to the stage Dr. Kerry Wallace, our Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and soon to be Big Pharma. And we are inviting Mr. David Fairman, VP of the Best Dressed Foods. Best Dressed Chicken, I thought it was a group name. More best dressed things, chicken and best dressed eggs, best dressed chickens. Thank you so much, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, that completes our panelists, and I now turn you over to our very able moderator.
Thank you very much, Debbie. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or rather good afternoon, still early afternoon. I am going to ask our Chief Executive Officer from the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority to lead us off with a special presentation. Kelly Dawn. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Dawn Hamilton.
Thank you very much, Chris, and good afternoon, everybody. So I do have a PowerPoint presentation, and my job here today, ladies and gentlemen, is really to take you through, make the link between planting your seeds, rearing your animals, and moving up the value chain, because that is what the Special Economic Zone framework allows. So this morning, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit about our global context, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. The world population is intended to increase, or projected to increase, to 9.7 billion by 2050. What this means is that we'll need to produce approximately 50 to 60% more food today than we're producing now. We also will need to balance quality with quantity. We'll have resource constraints. We have to face things like climate change in our country, Jamaica. We'll need more arable lands, more fresh water, more energy. Agriculture currently uses 70% of fresh water globally, and that means that we will require more in order to meet this need. Innovation and sustainability. So we will need to incorporate that more in order to feed these additional persons. Nearly 30% of all foods that are produced are lost, right? Whether through waste or we just lose the output. We need better storage, better packaging, and of course, consumer education. So these are some challenges that we have. Or these are some opportunities that we have. Jamaica's value proposition. We know it, we spoke about it. We punch above our weight, we little, but we tallow. So there's a strong demand for Jamaican products. A few years ago, last year, we would have participated in trade missions in the US, UK, Canada, and really taking our business persons, and Home Choice was one of those companies that participated with us, and taking our business persons to different companies across these countries. And one thing that was repeated was that they can't get enough Jamaican goods. So the demand is there for our products. We have an incentive regime through the SEZ. We also have productive input relief. But my job here this morning, ladies and gentlemen, is to really speak about SEZ. We have proven experience in the sector. We have warehouses, increased tech and innovation, strong logistics network, preferential access through trade agreements. Ladies and gentlemen, there is untapped potential. And that is why you're here today, to understand what those are and to understand how we take advantage of them. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the logistics landscape just to make the connection that if we're going to grow, if we're going to increase our output, we have to export, right? But we know that there is also an opportunity for the local market because we heard that we are importing a lot of things. The fish minister spoke about earlier. So we have potential all around. If we're talking about logistics, we have to talk about our new airline, yes, that is allowing us more space and capacity to get our goods in and out of the island. Connect Air Cargo, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I said it in my head. Connect Air Cargo. So ladies and gentlemen, we have untapped opportunities in a number of areas, and I just honed in on a few produce here. And of course, we know that we have livestock as well, and we have the fisheries, and we have other areas. But ackee is an untapped export king. Jamaica is one of the few FDA-approved exporters of ackee. Ginger, Jamaica's gold spice. Turmeric, wellness giant. Suddenly, breadfruit is trending. All of us probably grew up with a breadfruit tree in the backyard. We never know that breadfruit would now be termed gluten-free, health this, high this, whatever, but breadfruit is trending and we have it here in abundance. Avocado. When I was growing up, I know it as pear. And you go out on the tree and you pick the pear and you eat it with a piece of bread. Now it's avocado. You have avocado toast and it is in high demand. And the pear, the avocado that we have here in Jamaica, like our people, is special. So there is big opportunity for avocado orchards. Pimento, allspice, can't get enough of it. Overseas or diaspora wants it, and persons outside of the diaspora as well. And there's a lot of opportunity to get into more value added. We heard Sean Garbott speak earlier, Walkerswood, about the potential, yes, about his value added services. And that has translated into him being in Publix. Home Choice, same thing, value-added services. And so this is where the Special Economic Zone regime comes in. So what is the SEZ? Basically, simply put, it's a designated space within which you get access to incentives, you operate under a different customs regime. And by different, more flexible. Why would the government do this? So how many persons familiar with free zones? Yes, we have heard about free zones. So this is not that. The SEZ is a modernization of the free zone regime. So under the free zone regime, you had to export up to 80% of your output. What the SEZ regime facilitates is that wherever you want to sell, we heard the opportunity for local selling. And so the SEZ allows you to sell in any market of your choice, any market that makes sense for your business. So the regime was put in place in 2016. We're almost 10 years old. There's no export quota requirement. We also have a work from home, but for our agriculture sector, depending on what you're doing, you could, because we're going to need the support services on the agriculture as well. It's a whole industry, and we're about developing an industry, an ecosystem around the industry in order for it to grow. We have prohibited industries, but the truth of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that agriculture is a priority industry for us. So SEZs for agriculture. What that means is that we're looking again at the value add. So high value crops, the areas that we're looking at, high quality nutraceuticals, tech-focused greenhouses, agro-processing. So if you have a facility that is doing these activities, if your company is undertaking these activities, you can benefit from the SEZ. Cold chain and logistics, those fall within our special economic zones as well. And ultimately, what SEZs provide, when you bring your goods into your zone, you're not paying any duties on the items. You're not paying any general consumption tax on the items that you purchase for use in your zones. So when you're setting up your warehouse facility or when you're setting up your cold storage facility, whatever you purchase, whatever machinery you purchase, no duties, no GCT. You're also paying a lower corporate income tax rate. So this differs from the productive input relief in that way, in that your corporate income tax rate that you currently pay is approximately 25%. For those of you who don't know, that can go down to 17.75 with the application of tax credits. In the SEZ, you're paying 12.5%, and that can go down to 7.75% as well. So agriculture, agro-processing, agro-technology, priority for growth for us at the Special Economic Zone Authority. So just a view of what the incentives are, and these are our fiscal incentives. No GCT, as I mentioned, 50% stamp duty relief, relief from income tax on rental income. So let me tell you how that works. If you have land and you're seeking to develop it, let's say you want to support the farming industry by providing that land space. If you become a Special Economic Zone developer, and you decide to lease the land, whatever you collect in terms of rental income, you do not pay any corporate income tax on that. Let me repeat, may not have heard. Whatever you collect in terms of rental income as a developer, you pay 0% corporate income tax. What that means, yes, in effect, you're paying no corporate income tax. So you build out the facility, you build out that agro park. Now, what that does, having gotten these incentives, you are operating at a lower cost, which means you are able to provide your services at a lower cost, right? Making us more competitive when you're selling locally and internationally. Now, you can come in as two ways in the Special Economic Zone. So we spoke about the developer, you are the landholder, right? In terms of the eligibility requirements, you must have issued and paid up share capital of 1.5 million, and persons use the land to show that, and other assets to show that capital. And of course, you must be in one of the permitted industries. For the occupant, and so now this is for a company like Home Choice that is doing the productive activity. When Home Choice sets up in the zone, they have to show issued and paid up share capital of $25,000 and capitalization of $50,000 in the first year, which they would have. Now, why Home Choice would want to set up in the zone? Because they too benefit from the lower corporate income tax rate, 0% GCT on any purchase for use in the zone, 0% rate of duty in the zone, and of course, again, that low corporate income tax rate. So it's a lower, it's a lower cost structure for companies that are seeking to grow their business. Now, some projects that we have in the pipeline, Minister would have spoken earlier about the Cayman Special Economic Zone, and we have had persons coming up to ask how can they get in, because they have agro-processing business that they would like to do. It's 700 acres, 400 acres that will be built out to facilitate this type of activity. So agro-processing space, manufacturing, logistics, all that will take place at the Caymanners. And if you don't know where it is, it's in St. Catherine on the Mandela Highway, right after you pass that Fesco gas station. If you're heading to Montego Bay, it's on your left, and it's that area, after you pass the Fesco, that entire area of land down to about the entrance to Portmore. Another opportunity that we have in our Special Economic Zone is a pharmaceutical zone. Right now, one of the persons who asked a question earlier, she said that beekeeping is the base of of everything agriculture. Absolutely. And agriculture is the base of everything else that we do. And so for our pharmaceutical industry, we have developed an opportunity, and we're shopping it to our private sector investors, and it's looking at setting up a manufacturing hub using pharmaceuticals, right? A pharmaceutical hub. So there are a number of opportunities as it relates to an agricultural park. There are models of them that exist, and I encourage you to look at Ethiopia, Kenya. Mexico has used the model quite successfully, and they have developed clusters around their special economic zones. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a booth here. We're in the exhibition hall. Team members, SEZ team members, if you can just raise your hands so that people can identify you. Thank you. So whatever questions you have, we're here to facilitate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kenny Dawn. So we now know what the Special Economic Zone Authority can do for us. She's really laid out some very alluring facilities and options for us thinking of going into business in the business of agriculture. We heard this morning, those of you who were here, heard from Minister Floyd Green that the government has agricultural linkages for tourism as top priority. So we know that this is very important. What I'm going to do for our panel is that we're very lucky. Dr. Kerry Wallace has prepared a presentation that can set the stage. So I'm going to invite him to the podium to make his introductory remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Dr. Kerry Wallace, CEO of the Tourism Enhancement Fund.
Thank you, everyone, and thanks for being here. I think all the organizers who have made this event possible. I mean, it's such a brilliant thing to do. I was surprised it hasn't been, the 10th anniversary. Jamaica Agro-Invest conference just makes so much sense to bring all the brain power together, all the stakeholders together for the advancement of this industry. So I would want to ask the question, can we create the link between tourism and the agri-industry to create a first world Jamaica? Many of you here would have lived in or visited a first world country. We all probably have relatives in a first world country. Big question, why don't we create a first world country here? Or a developed country. I know some people say the politically correct way of saying it is a developed country, not first world. But when I say first world, everybody gets it, right? Why can't we have the quality of life, the quality of income, the quality of safety, the quality of housing, the quality of public health, quality of transportation? Why can't we create it here? We believe that we have the assets, certainly from a tourism perspective, that provides us that hook that can pull enough dollars from the rest of the world into Jamaica to create that kind of income for our country. But it won't stay here if we don't allow that dollar to spread right into the communities of Jamaica. And in order to do that, we have to build out the supply to tourism. We have to build out the reach, the expansion of tourism, not just coming in to hotels, but coming into the country. And so the few slides I have will point to how I see us making that happen. Thankfully, we have a tourism linkages network hosted in the TEF. In fact, I'm going to single out Carolyn McDonald-Riley, who heads that department, and her team. Let's give her a round of applause, please. To create that bridge between tourism and linkages. So tourism as it is contributes 30% of GDP. It provides a third of all the jobs in Jamaica. Last year, 4.15 million visitors. And I just pause to say that when you have 4.15 million persons on vacation, I think you can all relate to this. They consume a little bit more than persons going about their regular business, right? When you wake up in the morning and you eat a Pop-Tart or you have a toast and then go to work, when you're on vacation and it's all inclusive, you're mad. You're eating a full breakfast, full lunch, full dinner, full jerk chicken on the beach. You're really consuming a lot more. We earned 4.3 billion in earnings last year. And the projection is just more growth. In a few short years, we'll have 20,000 additional rooms. I don't know how many of you would have passed the Hard Rock coming, that construction. If you go west, you pass the Pinnacle, that construction going up. Huge growth coming into Jamaica from a tourism standpoint, which translates into more consumption, more need for products and services made in Jamaica. I have to big up my minister, who is also back. He apologized for not being able to be here. But here is the challenge. While the Caribbean is the most tourism-dependent region on the planet, while the Caribbean has the bluest waters on the planet, not sure how many of you knew that, the bluest, when they look at the whole globe, and many of the waters are gray and dark blue and whatever. The region that has the bluest waters is the Caribbean. And here, the local sourcing for agricultural products into the hotels is at 32%, meaning a 68% of opportunity. Thankfully, in Jamaica, we're slightly higher. The highest in the Caribbean is the Dominican Republic. And in that country, they have a lot of mega farms that are supplying the mega hotels that are there. We have mega hotels coming into Jamaica, but we still have to be facilitating the combination of a lot of the smaller farmers to be able to meet the demand, and we're at 40% of the supply to the hotels. So there is a need for investment into growing these farms into mega farms to be able to meet that supply. The best way I can describe it is to say, imagine lifting up your farm and migrating with it to a first world nation. And you would imagine the type of changes you would have to make. The volumes to have economies of scale, the consistency of quality and delivery and efficiencies and so on, the mechanization that you would have to go into. That is pretty much how we have to think as farmers in Jamaica. Because from a tourism standpoint, First World has come to Jamaica. Iberia Stars have 100 hotels globally. Rios have 98 hotels globally. Forget the Marriott. The Marriott has 9,000 hotels globally. So when they put one in Jamaica or two in Jamaica or several in Jamaica, they are bringing that first world model from central office in Spain or wherever it is, and applying that model here in Jamaica. So how Jamaica tourism grew with, you can know people. You know Miss Mary's son who good can cook, so you hire him. Those days are done. You better have the qualification, you better have the supplies, you better sign the contracts, you better have the delivery, you better be operating at first world standards. So, but it's a great opportunity because the kind of volumes that you can move when you enter that space is phenomenal. Now, it's a $2.9 billion US opportunity. So I do encourage more and more persons to get involved. One of the big things that we tend not to do in Jamaica is partner, tend not to collaborate as much. And that is an opportunity for agricultural industry. If we can create cooperatives so that the cooperative gets a contract and combined, you can meet those supplies. We provide training and linkages on how to be able to meet the demand in the hotels. We actually get the research on what is being demanded by the hotels that Jamaicans can reproduce. Now, one of the areas that is rarely talked about is for you to get involved in tourism, not just by supplying the hotels, but for you to become a tourism entity yourself from your farms. Meaning visitors come and have the experience of being on your farm. Massive industry globally. And it's set for growth. It's 8.1 billion last year. It's set to grow to double by 2030. In the US alone, 28,000 farms are into agritourism, strawberry picking. In Italy alone, they have what you call enotourism, which is where the experience is walking through the vineyards, and then you're stomping on grapes, and then you sample the wines, and you learn about winemaking. 9,000. Remember, Jamaica gets 4.15 million last year. They get 9,000 every year, 9 million every year, just for that type of farm tourism, let's call it that, tourism. We have the best coffee in the world, best ginger in the world, best turmeric in the world, best jerk in the world, chicken, and pork, and so on. Just make sure it doesn't get misconstrued. So there's opportunity. I mean, we see it happening. We see Sush in the Bush doing it. In fact, New Zealand has the highest level of agritourism in the world. They have great farm tourism partnerships. They have government-supported certifications so that it gives the confidence in the visitors going. And they average $108,000 per annum, each farm. So imagine you have a farm and you're going to add this. You still sell your products, but you're going to add this type of income. And we have some persons doing it. We have Stush in the Bush that does it as well. But as I say, Jamaica has an unfair competitive advantage. I don't know how we were so blessed. If I was another country, I wouldn't like Jamaica. I'd be too jealous. How can you be such a small island and have so many things going for you? How are you so blessed? Best ginger, best coffee, best turmeric. And so the opportunity for us is to convert that into wealth. So Sandals has done it. 81% of their agricultural products is sourced locally. And as I mentioned, Sush on the Bush has done that concept as well too. The linkages, we are here to facilitate you. We have meetings with the purchasing managers of hotels and our suppliers for them to meet to buy their products. We have a partnership with the Exim Bank to provide funding for you to upscale, for you to mechanize, for you to grow and get bigger with your business supplying tourism. We have the Alex platform, a digital platform that ensures that all the small farmers still have an opportunity, still have a bridge to the hotels. When the hotel come and say they want a container load of carrots per week, which farmer in Jamaica can go for that? So you have to therefore work with many farmers, and the purchasing manager said, listen, I can't have a whole day of 20, 30 farmers, me counting out carrots to receive them. So this was our answer, make it all digital. The farmers go online, put in what they have each morning, they click, click, click and add it up, and that's how it's supplied to them. That's how we're able to bridge that gap. And this is the kind of volume, I mean, we've done over 450 million already since the start of the year. So we're doing all that we can to facilitate our farmers stepping up to where they can supply tourism. Thank you. The SMTE loan is what I mentioned, that we put $1 billion to on-lend to small and medium enterprises, so it's farmers and manufacturers as well. One of the things we've done too is when the tourism stakeholders come to us and say, listen, we have dire shortage of certain products, we actually step in and say, listen, everybody complaining can't get any limes and so on. We're going to help our farmers, give them the expertise, give them the seedlings, give them the technical know-how to be able to bolster that business. Strawberries is another one. It's a very perishable product. And so it turned out that we could fetch a much higher margin if our farmers in Jamaica supplied the hotels with berries, strawberries, and so on. So we went in and invested, bought greenhouses for farmers and so on. And they themselves scaled up and supplied tourism to the point now where they're all driving Audis and BMWs and so on. But they're a very, very successful program. We've done food safety training. The hotels have HACCP standards that they have to source the supplies. So we had to go into the farms to say, listen, this is the standard so that the sourcing can match so that you can have the contracts with the hotels. So overall, we partnered with JSIF as well. I heard persons talking about that, so I will save that slide. But what I just want to finish with is the opportunities. The horticulture for tourism. Again, many farmers don't tend to think about that. All those wedding bouquets, all those decorations and so on, most of them have to be imported. It's expensive to import because they have to be refrigerated and so on. If we can grow those and supply that, the tourism sector will gobble that up easily. Again, we have to move from sample to ample. We have to move from understanding where it can't be a crop-style farming, meaning you start one time of the year and plant, then you fertilize and weed and whatever, and then you have one big harvest, and then you try and look at market and then sell, and then you don't have any more till the next season. Those days are done. In fact, that's how we grew up. You know, after we sell the big harvest, everybody make money and we buy some rum and drink and have a carnival. In fact, what is a carnival in Barbados called? Crop over. In tourism, you get the crop cannot be over. Every day, the buffet line. So you have to have tiered farming, you have to have precision farming, so that when you have a contract with a hotel to deliver, you are supplying week after week after week consistently. Agro-process, you know, they want to move fast as well. So if you can get the jams, the sauces from the products rather than them having to peel and get it ready for the buffet, then it's something that they would prefer as well. There's another project that the linkages team is doing, which is recognizing that because our clientele in the hotels are predominantly from overseas, they will come with their particular tastes that our chefs here now have to prepare the meals for them. And so in order to do that, they will need certain spices and certain herbs and so on that are not familiar to many Jamaicans. Vegetables and so on, the arugulas, the asparagus. So, you know, when you talk to a farm outside here, them say, boss, what that? No clue on how to grow those, and so inevitably these chefs now have to import them from overseas. One of the things we've done with our linkages program is we've gone into all the agricultural school, bringing the list of these culinary herbs and training those students on how to grow these culinary herbs so that they can supply the tourism sector. So that's one of the outstanding programs that we're doing as well too. And that we're investing with JSIF to ensure we have the cold storage and so on to make sure those supplies are consistent. So I just wanted to share the opportunities that we have in the tourism space, bearing in mind that all these hotels where they may have one or two branches in Jamaica, they have a network of hotels across the globe. And so you get in with an outstanding product, it means you can get into their 100 hotels across. So tremendous opportunity for us to grow step by step and be able to supply the hotel chains right across the world. So that's the opportunity I wanted to share with you. Thanks.
Let's hear it for, thank you very much, Kenny. Let's hear it for Dr. Wallace. He really set the stage for us very nicely. He has right-sized the opportunities, $2.9 billion US dollars, 68% roughly of that size of the market. It's, you know, I think of tourism linkages as a way to export without actually exporting, because the foreign market has come onshore. And there's so much that they will need. Everything that you use at home, they will need there. Okay, everything that you use at home, they will need while they're remaining here. So every kind of vocation or business, any kind of production that you do could be relevant and an opportunity for you with our tourism market. I wondered if I could ask Dave Fairman if he wanted to add anything from his perspective. Dave?
Thanks, Chris. I just want to say, just listening to some of the presentations before, I would classify myself as a dreamer, right? Dream the dream before you live the dream. And if we all were just thinking about what would Jamaica look like if we were able to properly integrate agriculture into the tourism space. You know, we talk about horticulture, we talk about farm tourism, right? And then there is the bigger part of it, which is how we integrate the food chain into the tourism sector. And if we were to just, you know, as I say, I dream a lot. So if you think about it and we say, look, what would Jamaica look like if we were able to get that done, we'll transform this country, basically. And the mega hotels that have been coming into Jamaica over the last several years have changed the game, quite frankly, in Jamaica. Not just from a visitor arrival standpoint, and they bring in their own travel agents and tourists into the island, but in terms of the supply chain network, it's not like a small hotel anymore. Small hotels used to get their inputs a lot from the small farmers, etc., that can just naturally scale into that space. When you get into the big mega hotels like a Rio, for example, as you heard, I think the presenter said yesterday, they have to just choose a few hotels. They just can't supply it, right? So the opportunities are boundless for us. I think we really need, with mega hotels, we need mega projects in agriculture. And one of the things that the poultry sector has I think thought us here is how to control that narrative and be able to scale up as those investments come. So tourism maybe in terms of the poultry sector, maybe somewhere in the region of 20%, right? But it's growing. Right? But the mega hotels require consistency in supply, right? So this on and off thing cannot work with hotels, and that's where we are losing the battle. So yes, I think some of the things we are doing with the agro parks, etc., will help to alleviate some of the issues, and I think we will get there, but for me, that is like organic growth. What we really need is some major investments in agriculture, right? We need big partnerships. There are companies out there, if it can't be done here, there are companies out there internationally that we need, just like we attract hotels and companies to come here, we can scale up, and I think, Chris, we really need to also embrace the technology. Right, so in poultry, we control the entire value chain. And when we control the entire value chain, that doesn't mean that our best dressed chicken is the only player in our business. We have all our farmers. We have somewhere in the region of about 65 to 70 contract farmers, which have invested billions of their own dollars into producing poultry. Right, and then yes, we collect and process and market, but also the whole distribution chain is also, the logistics is also important, right? And again, we have many independent contractors that are controlled by us so that we can ensure timely delivery, because that's also important to the hotels and with the consistency. So I'm just saying that I think the entire value chain for all the agricultural crops, the leafy greens, etc., which is a big opportunity out there, right? We need to be able to scale up to the size of these hotels. And all of those hotels we see coming on stream, the Hard Rock, and I think there's the other one, Moon Palace, that is coming there. Right. These hotels, there's no single farmer that can supply even one of those hotels, right? So again, if we dream the dream, guys, and we think about the opportunities that are out there, Jamaica could be transformed. It's the largest employer of labor here, right? And I think we need to also see agriculture as a business. I think Jamaica still, and Jamaicans still see agriculture as a small man type of activity, right? And agriculture the world over, the countries like the Netherlands, etc., that have really excelled at agriculture, it's no different from any other industry, manufacturing industry. You have engineers, you have biologists, right? People with PhDs, masters, and that could also absorb a lot of our technical people coming out of universities, which quite frankly, if we think about it, we go to university and we do chemistry and biology and so on. How many jobs are here for that. But if we can develop the sector in a meaningful way, that will absorb everybody. You know, so I'd want to just share some of that perspective.
Sure. Thank you very much, Dave. And I'm going to ask Kerry to comment on how he sees the problem and how we can solve that problem, because you laid it out very nicely for us. It's 2/3 of what they consume that we're missing. And you have to ask yourself the question, why are we missing it? And I think Dave has laid out some aspects of the problem. You know, we're not consistent. There are issues, inconsistency for quantity and quality. And there are also untapped areas. I understand that furniture is another big wide open area. It doesn't speak to agriculture so directly, but there are just a number of other untold opportunities. I did want to do a quick shameless mention that as JAMPRO, we're in the partner pavilion downstairs. Our representatives are here. I'm going to ask Andrea Reed, she's right in the middle in front, to just give us a little wave. And we also drive a linkage program. It's a sector of specific focus for us, especially for agriculture. So we too also arrange events. Sometimes we work with TEF at the same event to bring buyers and sellers together. And it is remarkable how successful those events are. People are always meeting up and discovering opportunities for the first time, and business gets better after they attend a linkage event. Kerry? Oh, one more thing. So because we want to move quickly and we don't want to hold up the linkage event downstairs with you eating lunch, it's important that you eat, and that's an important linkage event as well. I'm going to ask you to send me any questions you have by WhatsApp, if you don't mind. My phone number is 224-3183. Christopher Denny, as a shameless plug. No, you all have my phone number. All right, so if you need any help from JAMPRO, feel free to give me a call. I will repeat the number from time to time. 224-876-224-3183. I'll repeat it from time to time. Kerry?
Right. No, so I think the opportunities that we really have is, so an event like this is a great one. It's bringing all the players together in the room, sharing the opportunities, sharing not just the demand that's there for their products and services, but the opportunities in terms of support that the government agencies are providing for them to step up into. Now, I think we have been in a situation where we, as a Jamaican, you kind of tend to think that, boy, the formal process, the government process, you're looking forward to bureaucracy, and it's going to take hard work, sometimes more work than the actual return on investment. But I think in this day and age, where we have this type of administration that's so forward-thinking in terms of looking at best how we can lift up our fellow Jamaicans, and you see all the agencies, I'm always impressed with the other agencies and the projects they are doing and programs that they have as well. I mean, I know we do a lot of things in TEF, but I thought we were like out there on our own. But I'm impressed with how many of the government agencies are doing so many things for Jamaicans to get the opportunity to step up. But I think in a lot of cases it's psychological, because they are quicker to see where there's a problem than where there's the opportunity that's in front of them. And I just hope that now that we have a lot of access, we have a lot of technology at our fingertips, access to information is no longer controlled by the few. Every single person here has a smart device and can go on AI and can get all the answers and all information and in record time. So I believe there's almost nothing left except for us to take action as a people, as a nation, and a big way of pooling resources in order to take a bigger step, I think, is a psychological change. We have a huge trust deficit in this country. So we may have somebody with money but no time, and we have a farm or a land or opportunity, and we have all the time but no money. In any other nation, they will pool together, and both of them make some good money. In Jamaica, we kind of have a tendency, boy, I can't trust him and this, that, and so both of them stay in the position they are. And I think the time has come for us to really step forward as a nation, step forward as a people, start having more collaborations, more cooperatives, more partnerships, more boards that then invest together to then create the yield, because otherwise it's going to pass us all. The opportunities are sitting on us right now in Jamaica.
Yes, sir. I remember a panel that presented yesterday, that met yesterday. Dr. Bellamy mentioned any fish you can produce, you can sell. There's no shortage of demand. Nick, I'm forgetting his last name right now, he mentioned any kind of orchard crop, and by the way, we're high on orchard crops, mangoes, breadfruit, ackee, and avocado, we're high on those things. And any amount of that you can produce, you can get not only a market for it, you can get a premium price. The opportunity is sitting there and waiting on us. I'll issue a warning before I ask Kelly Dawn to make her comments on how to solve the problem. I heard the ambassador at a recent event, our ambassador to the United States, Anthony Anderson, suggesting that he's getting calls from potential investors looking at Jamaica. If Jamaicans don't invest in Jamaica, others will. This opportunity is sitting here. What is the size again? 2.9 billion? Waiting for us to make our vocation and make ourselves personally wealthy from it. If we don't move on it, it's not going to sit there forever. The tourists need to be fed right away. Kelly Dawn?
Thank you very much, Chris. A couple of years ago, I did a SBA for CXE, and I looked at mini-set technology in the production of yam in St. Anne. And at the time, the farmer that I met with was a young man just getting into farming, and he was planting his yam hills using the yam stick, very, very manual process. And I was quite interested because he was a young man who had the opportunity to do anything else, and he chose farming because he saw the vision of farming. None of his other classmates got into that space. He did. He stayed the course. When I met with him the first time around, I said to him, what kind of technology are you using to do this? He said he's not using any technology. He's using the method that his grandfather taught him. I kept following up with him because it interested me. What was quite interesting was that 10 years later, he said to me, everything has changed, and he has now fully incorporated technology into what he's doing. Agro-technology has changed how he has done business. He was able to put his siblings through school without breaking a sweat because of what technology was able to do for his business. And I'm saying all of that to say that, just to emphasize the point, that we do have to look at agriculture differently. We do have to incorporate the elements of business that any other sector does to grow. We do have to look at financing in a different way, and we see DBJ coming with their products to support the market. We do have to look at the linkages and the opportunities that presents. Our hotel sector is huge, and we heard it. We can't supply any one hotel. We have to pick a few or even one in order to supply. And so the opportunity is now. The fact of the matter is that our government agencies are very keen on working together. Chris would have mentioned JAMPRO's role in it, and you know, that is important, because what we don't want either as government is for people to be having to go to many different entities in order to establish. So the time is now. We need to take advantage of it. We have the enabling landscape to do so. We have the incentives around it. We have the financing around it. We have the skills around it. Of course, there may be some gaps that we need to fill, but let's work together to fill that in order for us to achieve the objectives that we know we can, in order for us to not just dream the dreams, but to live the dream.
Thank you very much, Kelly Dawn. Kelly Dawn put it together very well. I'll share in her observation, I have noticed a change in the way government operates. They're very proactive. Evidence of that is right here on the stage with two, JAMPRO has been around for a little while, but two of the three agencies that are here are relatively new. I think you're 10 years and 20, but 20 is not so new anymore. But even then, I can remember when TEF started. I'm still old enough to do that. It's an indication of how serious the government is about having a desired impact on the country, on economic growth. And there are other agencies. Agro-Invest itself, which is the current incarnation of an older agency, they are very proactive. You're here because of them. The government is doing its part to make and facilitate things to happen. It's now over to you to move on this opportunity. So I don't know, did you want to share anything additional, Dave?
Chris, I just wanted to also weigh in on technology, right? So one of the real keys for the technology, what it will solve is year-round production. One of the challenges right now with agriculture is that we are doing open field agriculture and it's depending on the weather patterns, right? So, you know, if the pattern changes, then you will see it in the supermarkets. Crops are here today, gone tomorrow, right? And one of the big advantages that the greenhouse technology offers is year-round production, right? And in addition, you also have higher density, right, production output as well, within a smaller acreage, less usage of water resources, far less, right? So yes, there's a big barrier to entry because of the capital outlay, right? And this is where I'm saying, I think we have all the stakeholders, you know, whether it's the DBJ, etc., for the finances, but we need to get low rates to allow and encourage people to take the step to make that big investment. Because that invest, and let me emphasize that Canada, the Netherlands, and I use the Netherlands a lot around the place because the Netherlands, as small as they are the second largest exporter of food in the world. Yes, sir. Right? And they, remember, the Netherlands is a temperate country, right? All greenhouse technology, right? So it does pay back for itself quickly, but the entry cost is high. And I think we need to change our approach to farming and see how technology can flatten out the supply chain ups and downs.
I want to underline that point. I'm going to ask Lee to go to the microphone. I think we can take questions as we go. One of the observations that I have made in talking to a number of players is that we tend to be smaller players producing for a premium price at a high cost. We tend to be smaller players producing for a premium end market price, right, above industry market price when compared to similar industries abroad, and we produce things at a high cost. We definitely have a strong niche market. We definitely have a strong captive market when we look at local tourism. If we were to streamline our production and make it more efficient, there's so much value added that we can trap as profit for ourselves. Yes, or I'm going to ask you to identify yourself, say what your affiliation is, and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shelley Heaven, the CEO and founder for Farm Linker, and we supply fresh produce to hotels. Our model is really to talk to the hotels to try to understand what their demand is, and then we organize farmers to grow the produce on a schedule to have a consistent supply all year round, because we believe that this is a solution to that inconsistent supply chain that we're having. But one of the things that we have observed is that the entire hotel sector, and this is a challenge that we're having, they have a bidding system, and the bidding system does not facilitate production-based planning or demand-based production. So the question is being asked here, how can we have greater linkages between tourism and agriculture? How can we benefit more? And I believe that the solution can only be found when we shift to demand-based production and production planning. How the bidding system works today is that you win the bid this week and you're required to start delivering next week several thousand pounds of produce per hotel per week, all of which require 12 to 16 weeks to grow or more. Now, this to me is chaos. And if we're going to really shift and achieve the benefits that we want, we have to get that shift within the hotel sector to get them to start doing business in a different way, because they're complaining about the problem of inconsistent supply, but they are not recognizing that their own behavior is contributing to the problem.
Karen.
That's my question. What are we doing to shift into this direction? Because I believe that we need to have 60% at least of our production based on demand, and then the other 40% can be based on spot buying and selling.
Right. So I think one of the challenges you're having is because there's more supply than demand from a amount of farmers. And so the hotels are in a dry, they have the handle. And when you're a big player, that they can't go anywhere else because your value of what you supply is, nobody else can beat it. Then you have back the handle and they have to come to you to try and get the business.
Yes.
Now, the problem when they is that Jamaica traditionally we have the 300,000 small farmers that we have versus when you go to other countries it's one family that has acres and acres and acres and produce tons and tons and tons of stuff. So they have quantity, they have quality, they have resources to have deep pockets to be able to tell a hotel, no, I'm not going to supply you and go to the next one. Or they've invested so much that they're not vulnerable to the ebb and flow of one hotel purchasing manager being a jerk or something like that. The idea is for us to really get big. Now, the good news is that we can have access to information more than ever before. So let's take the Alex program, for instance. If you have the contract to supply them, you may not necessarily be the farmer farming it, but you can go online and find the farmers in your cluster and have a deal with them where you then get that to then meet that demand that they have for you. And it's being done. There are many on the platform that's what they do. In fact, sandals, the supply to sandals that I mentioned.
It doesn't solve the problem, and that's why 10 years later, if we don't change, we're still going to be talking about the same thing, because you say that we need to get big, but how can I, as an investor, or invite investors to come on board to invest in my business to go big without a guaranteed market? We cannot do that. It requires contracts up front, forward contracts prior to planting the goods.
Yes.
That's the model that we need to shift towards.
Well, the good news is that our linkages team is negotiating with, they're creating a purchasing managers committee from all the hotels, and they're looking for that type of stipulation with the hotel, that kind of policy. To
yes,
where they
and the new ones that are coming, we need to get them to agree to that.
It goes both ways. When they have the contracts, the farmers have to live up to those suppliers and make sure that, so what you want is a win-win outcome.
Can I jump in?
So there's work in that direction, I'll just say.
So can I jump in? So I think Kerry has indicated some promising possible solutions. I'd like to ask my Andrew Reid to make contact with you. We're willing to sit with you, separate and apart, and work through how we can identify more relevant and meaningful opportunities for you from where we sit. I think it's going to take more time and focus. So would you allow us to do that? And then we'll move on to another question.
Yes, thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kerry.
Right, and we have our linkages booth as well, so please feel free to talk to us some more about it. But we'd love to work with you through that bump in the road.
For sure. I think we have to work together on that solution because your purchasing committee is going to be very key.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Roy Tenney Miller. I do an online program from the diaspora called Tenney Miller Live on Flex, FLEXX television online. So I speak to the diaspora. First of all, I must commend the fact that we are having this and we are having those kinds of issues, which is good. that means that things are happening and we're moving in the right direction. And oh God, we needed this a long time ago. And it's only a pity we're not doing it every year, but it is so elaborate that I guess it's so costly that we have to only do it every other year. But we hope that maybe some of the money that we use for elections could be channeled into a fund that will be able to facilitate small farmers and, small developers, so that that money goes to more productivity than talk about, time come or yes, we're ready, whatever. Now, just to speak to two quick things. I would like to ask Ms. Kerry, your facilitation, does that include people who want to do CMOS farming, for example, or tilapia, or any kind of oyster farming, as was presented by Dr. Bellamy and the minister earlier at different times?
Yes.
Because I'd love to be able to know I can get 5 acres of seafront
Yes.
to be able to do some oyster farming.
Yes, we do. So
Wonderful.
let us talk.
Good, definitely. Secondly, as it relates to an absence from this conference, I thought I would have seen 10 kids from Case, 10 from Nakalva, 10 from Ebony Park, and 10 from another institution like that, who are the future of the industry, to be here to participate, to understand what is waiting on them and how they might be able to make a future for themselves rather than to scam. So, you can't do everything, and I will take that point very saliently, but in terms of how we go forward, or if we are intended to, and I intend to have a discussion with the Honorable Mr. Scully, because he has done a great job. Brilliant man, and he must be commended for that. Brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
Fine. I'm not going to be long. So I'd love for us to look at a youth conference in agriculture. Make the minister and the opposition person sit down and take a presentations from these young people and say, this is how we see it based upon AI and internet and the cloud, and be able to do that. Because that is so fundamental, because when we speak to transformation and the future, they are the future. So we can't do it in absence of them.
Yes, sir.
And lastly, Ms. Kerry tell you that chat a lot, but I'm going to finish. As it relates to the diaspora, if a tree drop in the forest and nobody not here, no tree no drop. That's how the adage goes. Meaning that we here need to find, and she has started, I have to big her up because she has started to interface with the diaspora in her way, because she's quite an aggressive lady. When it comes to the job, I mean. Fine. We have to know aggressively go to the diaspora. Not just through AI and through, but every single opportunity and platform that there is. Because there are Jamaicans in the diaspora, another $2.7 million of them, 2.7 million of them, who are dying to know, because ignorance is not bliss anymore.
Sir?
They need to know the information.
Sir, well, I know that Jumper does have an outbound program, but respectfully, we are running out of time. So I'm going to finish the questions from on the floor. I have one. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I thought your points were very salutary. Thanks for sharing. I have one question that was asked by WhatsApp. I'm going to pitch it. When hotels cannot get a product, is there still a way to get permission to import from the hotel's perspective? Kerry, I'm going to ask you to take that one.
It depends. There are certain protection that some crops and products have that it requires a bigger deliberation. But you can understand their position if something goes short in the hotel, a staple that's crucial for them to operate, then it becomes an issue that, negotiations with tourism, with Minister of Finance and so on, to be able to alleviate that problem. But what we are mostly interested in is building out a very robust agricultural sector to be able to supply us handsomely, not just Jamaica, but the rest of the Caribbean. Not just the rest of the Caribbean, but wherever they have other hotels across the world. We want to build out so with shortages and those things are a thing of the past. Just like how Holland the Netherlands can do it, I don't see why we can't do it here in Jamaica. We need to be the Usain Bolts of agriculture.
Yeah, man. Now, I'm going to respectfully ask that the questions be quick because we're out of time. So just give me your first name and your question. We'll get to you later. If you don't get a chance to ask the question, you still have my phone number. I will be accountable to get you a responsible answer. Ras Asta.
As you mentioned, my name is Ras Asta. I'm from Bob Arts Television. I operate an attraction. We find out now as a reggae purist, it's like young people know Vibes Cartel, but they don't know Third World. And I have developed a Reggae Walk of Fame, where we offer a gastronomy experience when the guests come off the ships and come to the Reggae Walk of Fame. The Reggae Walk of Fame is just down the road at Spring Farm, and it's across from the Half Moon Hotel. Now, we find that within the hotels, the entertainment section is all about Cuba and Dominican Republic. It's not Jamaica, so we don't offer our indigenous Rastafari music to the guests. And I love the powers that be, Ministry of Culture and the people in general, to let us keep the ambassadors in our mind and promote them more now. Respect.
Thank you very much, sir. Well said. I'll leave it as you have put it. We should encourage that. Yes, sir. This is going to be the last two questions. Be very quick for me.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anand Kumar. I'm the Vice President of the Jamaica Arid and Rare Plant Society. First, I want to thank you for accommodating me. And I want to commend Mr. Wallace. I want you to thank you for speaking about horticulture and the opportunities that lie within horticulture. I do know that this is an agricultural business forum, but thank you for mentioning it, because horticulture is a multi-billion-dollar industry, because it made over $60 billion US in 2021, and is aimed to make about 19 billion US this year and grow by 7.3% in the coming years. As an horticulturist myself and a florist, the challenges that we face is the importation of cut flowers. I want to thank you for speaking about Netherlands. Netherlands have an annual tours that they do in terms of their gardens, and they largely supply a lot of cut flowers. The issues that we have here is that we do not know if there are opportunities or technologies that are available to us. And the sore point mainly is the cutting and the storage, cold storage of those cut flowers, and also the exportation of plants such as rare plants, such as aroids, monsteras, and anthuriums. So I just want to know what opportunities are there for us as horticulturists. Because when you go to the bank and you tell them that you do cut flowers or you raise plants such as anthuriums and aroids, they kind of maybe push you to the side a little bit, because you're not generally generating a cash crop that will give them a turnover in 6 to 8 weeks. Your process is a lot longer, which you are looking at about maybe 6 months a year in terms of propagation. We have made headway globally in terms of tissue culture, in terms of we are able to replicate and generate plants at a quicker rate. So why isn't that those technologies aren't available to us here in Jamaica? Because we have to also, myself included, has to import tissue culture to grow and supply my customers. So I want to know what opportunities are there, and will these resources, are there resources, or will there be resources available in the near future to persons that want to fuel their passion for horticulture?
Wow, great question. I think all of us in this room learned a little bit about horticulture, correct? And again, that's just one of the benefits of having a forum like this, bringing the stakeholders together. And I promise you, not just me and my linkages team, but I'm sure a lot of us are now more knowledgeable about the sector and what's going on in Jamaica and what you're doing. And so the best thing I would say is thank you so much for coming up and speaking, and definitely get everybody's number and go to our booth, and I promise you we will facilitate the ease of you climbing to become a great supplier, you and the Association of Horticulturists in Jamaica.
Very well said.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Very well said, Dr. Wallace. We will help you. Yes, sir. Our final question.
Final question. Thank you very much for taking the time. My name is Halim Kard. I'm a chef and content creator and been doing it for almost 12 years now. A couple of people will know my face in and out of media and throughout the industry. I had a question directly for Dr. Wallace. I wanted to understand I wanted to acknowledge the effort that has been put into the gastronomy network over the past couple of years. I remember when COVID had just hit, the event that was supposed to be held was a Blue Mountain Coffee Trail. And then after COVID had ended, then we had set foot down at Devon House as the Center for Gastronomy Hub, the first place that was named. I wanted to understand, with the academy that has been recently implemented, what are the plans that we have for agribusiness and our culinary landscape locally? Because I'm hearing a lot of exports, I'm hearing a lot of it, but my main problem as a chef restaurateur over the years is the consistent, I would want to say, issue of getting the tourists from out of the hotel, out of the wonderful experience that they're having on property, to actually show them what Jamaica is. We've seen where our food has taken a global impact very recently in Jamaican and Caribbean food and flavor becoming very popular within the past couple of years. So I wanted to know if there are any plans that we have through agribusiness directly into the culinary landscape.
Some really good questions, I think. But great point, and the good news, the simple answer is yes. The Gastronomy Institute that the minister launched just about 2 months ago is exactly to develop that. So we have a balancing act to do in tourism. The visitors will come and they have their particular tastes and so on. But they are also here in our country where we have our culinary delights and so on, that we need to not just have only our stuff, because if it's foreign to them and they don't know, we have some of their stuff that we do well, and then we introduce them to what we do well here. And thankfully, as you said, what we do here is becoming more and more popular all around the world. So that speaks volumes for us. So we in linkages work very hard at making sure we give opportunities for import substitution. So if they come here as a cognac drinker, and we don't create cognac in Jamaica, but we have some of the finest aged rums. What we do is we have sessions and so on where we introduce them. When we have our bartender training, we train them how to introduce these new substitutes so that they try our aged rum, fall in love with it, and not only are they having it while they're here on holiday, but when they're going home, they're going home with cases or bottles of them going back home to help to build out our rum industry and all our agricultural industry here in Jamaica. And so that's our mantra of trying to, having the confidence that what we have naturally and what we develop here is outstanding. It's not like we have to be begging people to taste it or begging people to try it. When they try it, they're googie gaga.
Right. I just wanted to see as best as possible. It's something that we Jamaicans have spoken about for the longest while. The problem that we've always said that Jamaica is not a safe place, and that's one of the main reasons why we don't get them out of the hotels. But again, I still think it's just...
As we get safer and as we have more Airbnbs and so on that provide the opportunity for experiential tourism. So that, because the all-inclusive provide a value, to the what I call the vacationer. This person, the visitor who wants to just vacate their home and their jobs and their cold country and their concrete jungle and just come here, one time paid, everything is paid for, and them toes in the sand and a pina colada in them hands.
Outside of the beach, it's a facade.
They're happy as a lark. But you have another type of visitor, which is a traveler, whose value is not in the pina colada in their hand in the sand. The value is immersing themselves in the culture. Is extracting from this new sight and sound and people, and Jamaica is rich with it. But the problem is, when we had a high crime rate, it automatically prevented every travel agent and so on is recommending them, funneling them into the hotels where they're guaranteed more safety. And now that we're getting safer and safer, is the opportunity for us as Jamaicans, because we have access to them through our smartphones. Social media is no longer the window to the world, only being JTB ads and so on. Now everybody has a window to the market.
That's right.
To showcase the beauty that we have here, the opportunities we have here, the culinary delights that we have here.
Well, them said time comes.
It's
So
almost
let's see
left up to us to get them to start flowing and experiencing Jamaica. You know?
I'm going to jump in now.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump in. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate the passion from the floor. It means that we're all going to be very popular people when we go down for lunch. I hope that we definitely are. I cannot have such a beautiful master of ceremonies waiting on feet for so long. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. The problems that we identified are all soluble. We're on our way if we go there together and we commit to the path of taking advantage of that opportunity in linkages for tourism from.
Oh, come on. After such a wonderful panel discussion, put your hands together, please, Mr. Christopher Denny, our moderator, Vice President of Investment and Linkages, and our panelists. Thank you so much to our CEO of the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, Ms. Kelly Dawn Hamilton, and our panelist, Dr. Kerry Wallace, Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and Mr. David Fairman, our VP of the Best Dressed Chicken. And with that, we come to the end of our morning to afternoon session. It is now lunchtime, and so we're inviting you down to the exhibition hall to eat together as one big family in agriculture. The rest of the day's sessions, we have a panel discussion right after lunch, which will happen in that exhibition hall as well. And for the other two information sessions, you will be informed where those sessions will be done inside the exhibition hall. So you will eat in the exhibition hall, have your next panel discussion in the exhibition hall, so you don't have to come back here. All right? Thank you so much. Enjoy lunch. And I'll see you in the exhibition hall. Thank you. You are the person who you send me? You're the person Kevon asked to send? Okay, awesome. Yes, so I want you to say hi to you. I want you to be standing right here and we'll like the front. Good? So ladies and gentlemen, we don't want the line to be too long. Please make your way on.
most persons